up, everybody? Welcome into something new on the channel. So this is going to be the midweek mashy. So why is that? Because alliterations are obviously fun, and it's also fun to say mashy. If you have any interest in what mashy is, apparently it is a archaic term for basically a mid iron, basically mid long iron. So yeah, the midweek mashy. It's going to be just something getting into. Obviously, we're going to do this on Wednesdays. It's going to be between the end of last week's tournament and then the start of this week's tournament, whatever it may be. Just because it's always all recap right afterwards, and then it's basically just all betting stuff these days on whatever's coming up for this week's tourney or championship or whatever it may be that week. So let's do a little something else. Just kind of talk some key points and what's been going on in golf this week. So obviously last week Keegan won the Travelers, but my biggest topic for the day is absolutely going to be like, what is golf doing? And before we get to that, it's always just going to be me here unless anybody ever wants to join me. If so, reach out. We could team up, have a little duo going here, but I'm always going to be drinking teas. There it is. It never shows well on camera because it's close to the green screen color, but I got to take breaks because I can't just talk for minutes on end without stopping. So if you see some twisted tea, it's always going to be me. All right? Anyway, it's like, what is golf doing at this point? And it really just hit hard this week. Most weeks I tune into golf and see exactly what's going on, like who's up on the leaderboard. I'll even watch if I'm at events, but this weekend I just had nothing going. Like it was the Travelers. It was the week after a U.S. Open, so this is now the second time they did this with this designated event schedule. First, they did it right after the Masters with RBC Heritage, which they got lucky on that one because there's a playoff between Spieth and Fitzpatrick, and even then there wasn't a ton of juice. And then this week they do Travelers in Connecticut, which a lot of people like as an event, but I don't think a lot of people like as an event right after a West Coast U.S. Open. I don't think people would have liked it if it was Midwest or East Coast U.S. Open, just because majors are just so draining in general. I don't really know what they were thinking at this point. So the biggest thing is like, who at this time in golf, it's like, who cares what these players are doing? It was a designated event, and I could not care less what was going on this weekend. Just a birdie fest, and besides that, they do the same format every single week. It's designated events aren't going to fix this thing, and this is the absolute perfect time to change things. If it doesn't work, whatever you decide to do, nobody cares at this point anyway. At this point in the summer, every single year, just nobody cares about golf other than the majors. And that's the thing, is that the majors, they just take up so much space and take away so much of the oxygen in the room that there's no real room for these other tournaments to breathe. And it's tough on the players. It's tough on fans. It's not tough on fans, actually, just because nobody's going to watch. And it's tough on sponsors because who's going to want to pay that money? So now is the absolute perfect time to change what's going on in golf and how golf is structured. And for me, it's the perfect this summertime, or not even the summertime, right? Like right into spring is a perfect time for the spring concept. So it feels like golf is important around the new year. So we start with Hawaii and we get the West Coast swing going. And everything is like building, leading up to the Masters. And then after the Masters, anything that's not a major just doesn't have the juice to really keep people entertained unless something kind of really crazy happens or you really get a good leaderboard. This week, you had a couple of guys up there, but they never really felt like they were contending. Like Scotty, he was never really contending. Rory was never really contending. And if you don't have a perfect setup every single week, no one's going to really tune in. So, excuse me, back to the tee. if no one cares, like go for the team concept at this point. So have all of your main non-major tournaments in the beginning of the year. Keep what you're doing with what do we have? Tournament of Champions, the Century to start off the year, and then we've got another Hawaii one. But then you've got Riviera, you've got the Phoenix Open, you got Torrey, you have then you get into the East Coast swing or Florida swing. You got Arnold Palmer. You have that's about it, right? Did I say Phoenix? If Phoenix isn't in there, yeah, you got Phoenix too. But you have some of those major designated events right now. Keep those. Set them up well. Have even some of the other ones in there. Even push some tournaments up there, like push RBC up to that spot. Fit in everything that you can that you deem as an important event before the Masters. This is when golf just feels more important, that you're really ramping up to something. What's going on now, sure, you're ramping up to the playoffs, but nobody cares about the playoffs. It's just another golf tournament, and there's cash to it, and that's it. Nothing else matters. Granted, that's about all golf is boiling down to at this point anyway, and golf might just explode if Congress doesn't pass this PIF and PGA deal, which might be the best thing for it. But assuming things get passed, this is the perfect time to switch things up. And I think my idea is a pretty good one. You have all these important events as basically a lead up into the Masters and Augusta. And once you get to Augusta, then it's like, all right, only things that really, really matter are these majors. So in between, let's do some team concepts to get something different. Because, like I've said multiple times at this point, majors take everything out of it. At least you have something different at that point. And we're going to have something different next year with the TGL and indoor stuff I think starting in January of 24. But I think just implementing the team stuff would be great, and it would really break things up between the majors and the other events, because you basically get the Masters in April, you've got the PGA in May, you've got U.S. Open in June, British Open or the Open in July. In between Masters and British Open, nobody cares. Nobody cares what's going on. I don't care what's going on in Connecticut. I don't care what's going on in Detroit this week. It doesn't matter at all. It doesn't. And if they're not going to really play into like the secondary stories, and even then, I can say, and we can say that it matters what's going on with these secondary players and really making the jump to the PGA Tour, but I don't care. Are they good stories? Yes, but that's not what brings me to golf. I'm there for the excitement, and these tournaments with just name-head sponsors hosting them, they don't do anything for me. I need some type of something on the line. I need like prestige or legacy or a sick trophy or just some kind of something that brings you there other than just calling things a designated event and giving out a bunch of money. The majors have that. The players has that. Besides that, the other 40 some odd events just don't have a lot of juice, and that's why I say the best ones, probably the 6 that are good, put them in the beginning of the season, lead it up to the Masters, so they do mean something. Because prior to the Masters, golf feels more relevant, and it feels like those tournaments do mean something. So that's kind of what I think, and I think that would be a solid thing to do. Now you get through the team I don't have this all fleshed out, but I think bringing the team concept at that point, majors are all done, and then you get, I don't know, maybe some type of team playoffs, team championships after that, and then lead into the silly season in the fall and do whatever you do there. Honestly, I think you do what I said with those couple important events, January leading into April. And then you've got the major season with the team stuff sprinkled in between the majors. And then after that, I think then going into the fall silly season, then would be a solid time to bring in the TGL stuff, indoor stuff, when people aren't playing as much golf. So let me know what you think. I think that's a pretty solid idea because nobody cares about golf right now. And I think that's just a better way to go about things than continuing to have sponsors shell money for stuff that nobody really cares about. Now, I don't really know what goes on with, I don't know, C-suite executives at PGA Tour events and how much relationship building there is, because I know that's big, obviously. But like, what are these sponsorships getting after shelling out probably millions of dollars to do this? So, let me know what you think. Any comments, any ideas that you might have for the PGA Tour going forward. And welcome to week 1 of Midweek Mashie. See you next time.